Hello and welcome to another video from the fanpub.com. Alan Shawn back again.
Yeah, welcome. It's good to be back. Good to be back. This will be a good one. I always like these drafts. These are my favourites.
Okay, so what we're doing now, we're attempting the best player available. So
Yeah, my favourite format. It really is.
it's probably what you should do, but sometimes it doesn't always fall that way.
Basically, what this is about is there's a lot of talk about different strategies you can employ, and there is no bad strategy. Everything can work. There's nothing to say taking a quarterback first is a bad strategy. It just depends how the rest of the team folds out. The truth of it is, though, I've become much more of a fan of let the draft come to you. Don't panic, and just take your shots later on, and then let's see what falls. And that's what we're going to do in this draft. We're not going to worry about picking a particular player up. We will think about balance. If we end up with, we don't want to. If it's best player available, we don't necessarily want 5 wide receivers off the bounce. But if they happen to be 5 great ones, that's just the way it falls. We'll just see what happens.
Okay,
we'll think about balance, but we'll see what's there.
We're looking at a 12-team league. We're going to randomise our draft position.
Perfect.
Just so we
totally don't know what we're going to get.
8.
Okay, so right in the middle of the pack, really. So that's perfect. Okay, let's see what happens.
Let's get into it. Let's see.
So we're going to miss all the top guys, which is interesting. Let's see who.
Which is always a bit upsetting, but what can you do?
You never know. Let's see what we got. Well, I'm happy with this.
Well, there's one standout there, isn't there?
Yeah, well, we love Mike Evans. He was great last year. He was high on our list last year, and he's sitting there again. I mean, I'm just not going to hesitate if he's on a board and I'm picking 8th. Mike Evans, 200 fantasy points.
Very happy.
I think I believe this year there's a sort of a 10% uplift on his numbers last year. That's 225, 200, 220, 225.
And that offense looks a lot more exciting.
I'm not turning down Michael Thomas in the second round of any league. I'm just not going to hesitate. He is the top of their list, and I can see the reasons why. Is there any running back that stands out? You could make an argument.
There's Todd Gurley, and we're a bit down on him at the moment until we see an improvement in the O-line and that situation.
There's a boom or bust player. There's potential to come bouncing back here, isn't there, and really, really explode back to his 2015 numbers. But equally, this may be the best we see of him.
Okay,
I'm
happy with Mike.
I mean, it's just the way it's fallen.
They're 2 big red zone targets. They're going to get you a stack of points.
I'm happy to take those. I'm feeling good about my touchdown numbers, and now we just see which is the best next player available. That's really great, Isaiah Crowell. I mean, I wouldn't knock him in the 3rd round. What else is there? I mean, this is interesting. So, what other case?
We've got Lamar Miller.
Yeah,
he's the highest ranked on Fantasy Pros for the consensus.
There's still Drew Brees out. There's still Andrew Luck, but I think I'm not really too worried at this moment in time. I don't think I would hesitate. I also feel I would. Well, there is an argument for DeAndre Hopkins, but I don't really feel that I would want to put a bit of balance to my team. So I would go Isaiah Crowell in this draft. I would feel confident to take him here in the 3rd round. I think the numbers support that. What do you think? What's your argument?
Okay, I'll go with you. I would be. I mean, because it's not a 0 RB, so
yeah.
I think Crowell definitely proved last year he's a good
is the
player.
Argument though, just so before we quickly
the worry is with him, he's a bit up and down.
The
on
up and down part. So should we just say, if we're thinking best player, should we say DeAndre Hopkins because we believe he could have a big bounce back year?
Yeah,
I mean, being honest, I mean, look, we've got Evans, Thomas, and you're putting DeAndre Hopkins together. Does that not excite you? It does me actually. Being honest, yeah. I think I would. I can't argue.
That's what I would have gone in a draft.
I mean, if that's fallen,
this is best player available, but it just happened. We haven't gone 0 RB on purpose. It's just happened.
Well, again, we've got the other option. I mean, look at this. We've got Drew Brees still sitting on the board, so we've got a stack available. We've got to look at running backs. There's still running backs out there that are falling a bit later, which I don't think we need to reach up for. That I prefer to trust. Yeah. So I think I would take Drew Brees here. Lock that in, have a top quarterback for this season along with the 3 wide receivers.
And have the stack with Thomas. So.
I'm going to have the stack here.
So you imagine the weeks that Brees and Thomas are going to link up for yards and touchdowns. And then you've got Evans and Hopkins.
I've still got T.Y. Montgomery as a first running back if I prefer him, but I'm going to take Mike Gillislee. I'm not going to hesitate. It's round 5. It's the perfect round for Gillislee. I'm happy to take him. I'm not going to hesitate. That's my first running back. I know you've seen it before here, but that's good. I mean, if it falls that way, it's the way it falls.
Yeah, I know we're starting to stand like a broke record.
I'm going for
the
best.
We've got to be honest who we would pick.
I'm going for the best player I believe available, and I think Mike Gillislee is the best player available.
Okay, we'll lock him in.
I'm not taking T.Y. because I don't think not sure of what he's going to produce.
This has turned into a. He's turned into a 0 RB.
Well, that's the way it goes. Let's see what else we've got underneath these players that are being suggested. Because I'm not a huge fan of C.J. Anderson. I see the Paul Perkins argument. Martavis Bryant is still sitting on the ball. Can we really turn him down now? Seriously, with the people that are available, would you turn him down?
Look at your wide receiver core.
I mean, it's the best I've ever seen. I'm not turning it down.
Okay.
I'm doing what I would do. I mean, this is now round 5 and Martavius Bryant. Sorry, round 6? Round 6 for Martavius Bryant in a 12-man. I can't turn that down. There's
He's
no
going
way.
too low.
And we've still got Frank Gore for steady points, Paul Perkins for, will you believe, the upside this year. I'm happy
He's
to
got
take
potential upside because of opportunity.
I'm going to go Paul Perkins.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it is just, you've convinced me at this point of the draft, it's just solid. We need solid numbers now to build on the running backs we've got. I mean, there's a few more running backs I might be interested in here. I've got Daddy Woodhead, I don't mind. I think he's probably better in a PPR.
Quick look at the options. So,
I like Sam J. Pirine, and I'd be taking that upside here. I wouldn't hesitate. Personally, me, I think there's a big upside for him.
there's every chance he wins that job.
I think he wins the job. So you know what I'm thinking with this team that we've got? This is a point I'm going to take my first risk. So I'm going to take Sam J. Pirine and stick him on my bench and see what happens. That's exactly what I would do. I wouldn't wait because he'll go off the board.
Okay, let's lock him in. There's every chance he takes over that job later. We've still got Matt Forte.
Still got 40.
And we need a player to play.
Can't argue that.
No.
I wouldn't even worry about that. Is there anybody else you can make an argument for beneath?
Only wide receivers, but we're so strong.
No, we're too strong. We don't need
absolute beasts.
We don't. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to look at other things. So, is there anybody else on the running backs?
I've locked him in.
It's gone. Okay.
I don't think it's a no-brainer because we might have to wait for Pirine to break through.
You would.
Forte,
yeah, you probably would.
I mean, start.
To be honest, we don't know how that training camp's going to shake out. No. But what we can say is we think at some point during the season, Sam J. Pirine is going to get his chance to shine, and I think he will come through. So, okay, so we're happy with our wide receiver. Don't think we need to look there. Our quarterback is as solid as they come. I don't think we need to look there. So it's just building up the running back numbers, I think, maybe even a tight end. So any other running backs that excite you to add to this list?
Kareem Hunt.
Very excited with that. I'd go with that.
Yeah, I mean,
for the same reasons we've just talked about Pirine.
Yeah.
We have to consider this guy the same thing. He could break out any point. These are two guys I wouldn't drop at any point in the early part.
And
of the
if he
season.
does break through, he's going to get you really good points.
Well, yeah, he's in a perfect offense. Right? And these are two guys. No matter what happens, I'm going to suggest this all year. No matter what happens, early doors, first 6-7 weeks, don't drop until halfway into the season if nothing breaks
don't worry
out.
with this. I mean, this has turned into a 0 RB really, but
it's a great one.
But this is just the way it fell to us. Don't worry about your running backs because they're not the focal point of your drafts.
Yeah,
you look at them, Gillespie, Perkins. We like them, but our strength is in the wide receivers, and if we can get any breakout from any of these running backs, then this team is going to be a force to be reckoned with, isn't it?
It's going to be very dangerous because you can start 3 of those wide receivers, and you'd have to be confident that any given week one of them will explode. That they could put some big numbers up.
We had a stat on the podcast about Spencer Ware, and he had the second most runs from inside the 10.
Yeah, and less conversions.
And he had he's something like the 25th most successful.
There's plenty of room for Kansas.
That tells you that the goal line carries have not been great from him. So there's every chance that Kareem Hunt can come in and actually do a job there.
How about in this particular part of the draft? Last time when we looked at a kind of draft like this, we took Jack Dorr. Shall we just lock in Eric Ebron for upside here? Just get the tight end.
Kareem Hunt first.
Kareem Hunt, first. Then look for the tight end on the bounce back.
We'll see if it falls to us. So.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt I like for the same reasons. So we just discussed. And then we got quite a few options here at tight end. Look at that.
Well, let's just look at all our options. So we probably don't need a wide receiver.
Well, there is one argument. Okay, here's an interesting thing. Go back up to our team for a split second. So if you look at our team, our first player off the board, was Mike Evans, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Guess who's still sitting out there at quarterback? And we've already got one stack. These situations rarely ever happen. Jameis Winston. I'm taking him. And you know why? Home games and matchups I love. I can mix and match and have a stack every single week for the whole season and happily do it.
And the other good thing about it is,
I
wouldn't normally be an advocate of taking two QBs.
Best player available.
Yeah, Breeze is on bye week 5, which is quite an early.
Yes, it is.
So if Winston starts well, or like you say, we've got the stack with Evans. There's lots of good things going for us here. We can trade them. We can trade Breeze even if we want.
Oh, exactly.
And look for a running back.
If you had a good start to the year and you got off to a real flyer, and you thought which quarterback would I trade on it? The name alone with Breeze will have somebody desperate to get him because their team's underperforming.
This is the 11th round. I
don't think you could turn that down. I think with a double stack, the way you could use that is so inviting, and they rarely happen. But when they do, they're worth exploring.
And there's nothing that excited that means we can go against that. Let's lock him in.
It's an interesting strategy to employ here with the draft the way it's fallen. So there we go. So now
it could well be a breakout for Jameis, I think. This year. Look at the weapons he's got.
I mean, think of this, right? So he's the only quarterback that came in and had 4,000-yard campaigns straight away as a rookie, etc. in first year, no slump.
And that was clearly with Mike Evans as a target.
team has improved. I think we'd agree that Tampa Bay are moving in the right direction.
Yep.
I think their running game, when Martin comes back, is actually, I think it will be very good this year. So they have a balance to the team. Jameis Winston, he's got some good wheels on him as well when he needs to.
He's got Deshaun Jackson added. He's got O.J. Howard added.
So much to like. So why would you not want that? It's a fantastic opportunity to employ. And there are games where I think their matchups look so inviting. I'd love to have that stack.
Right.
So here we go. We've
got old favourites here. Tyrell Williams and Burkhead. They could be our next two picks, probably.
I think they would be. I think I would take Tyrell Williams.
See
I really
which one's got the highest ADP, just to be on the safe side. If we get both of these, we'd be.
I think we'd have a good chance. Tyrell Williams 154.
Tyrell Williams is 154, 124 on the expert opinion, and Burkhead's going 171. So I think we lock in Tyrell Williams.
We go with the Tyrell Williams because there's more chance he goes off the board.
Yeah, just in case one of our wide receivers goes down.
We've backed ourselves that we've got probably the best 5 I've seen actually so far in any draft this year, and now we've still got Rex Burkhead to back up our number 1. So that's also useful, and we've given ourselves some shots.
If you get Gillespie, take Burkhead.
And what we're probably going to do again, because we're drafting early, we won't bother with the kicker, we won't bother with defence. It's a 12-man league, plenty of those out there. Unless there happens to be an absolutely beast one on each. Not the kicker so much, but maybe the defence.
Well, let's look at tight end probably.
Is there a defence there that you absolutely have to own?
No.
Probably not. So we'll leave them and...
I think that's fair to say.
We'll stream and we'll basically just look at best players.
So we need a tight end.
Yeah. Jason Witten's solid. A lot of people like CJ Fedorowicz this year. I'm not so big keen. Dwayne Allen, that's very cheap.
Okay.
That's quite cheap, isn't
it? Is there another running back you want, or do you want to take your tight end now?
I don't see any running back that screams off the page that I absolutely have to have. I think we can get... There's a couple of other running backs we can take shots on. I mean, we've got Wayne Gorman as another cuff to Perkins. I mean, that could be sensible. But it doesn't really excite me. I think he could be one of the very first players we actually drop in this kind of draft that we've got.
Because you're going to be waiting a long time on him, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm not really seeing it.
Do you want to lock in Jason Witten then?
Yeah, I do. Look, if their schedule is the way the people are predicting, they're going to have a bit tougher and they're going to have to run more and they're going to have to use the outlet valves
and he's the
more.
Safety blanket for Dak, doesn't he?
He gets 2 to 5 catches every single week without foul. He always gives you sort of 40 to 60 yards and occasionally more and a touchdown. It's not exciting, but the tight end pack is 10 a penny. And if
unless you got Gronk,
through,
then...
Yeah.
Okay.
And even then, there's the risk of the injury, of course. So quite happy with that, solid. And then it's just taking shots. So let's have a look at what shots, because we're not, as you say, we're not going to bother with a kicker or defence. What do you think out of that batch that's left? Is there anybody there you think we can grab an angle on that could be useful?
I think I'd take... do we need another wide receiver, though?
The problem is we're going to have to drop somebody, aren't we? This is the problem. And who would you drop from the list that you've already got? I'll tell you what I might be tempted on doing, right? So, because of the kind of draft that this has panned out to be. If we go back to our team for a split second, I'm going to suggest one player in a minute. So, we've already got 5 of the best wide receivers we've ever seen. We've got running backs that I kind of feel very comfortable with. So, these are real, let's see how it pans out in training camp kind of picks, yeah?
Yeah.
Zay Jones.
Okay, another wide receiver.
Another wide receiver, simply because...
Opportunity.
What if he breaks in and really looks good?
And what if Sammy Watkins breaks down?
Then you could be sitting with a tradable piece before the season even begins.
Okay.
And he would have value. So that's what I'm looking at.
Don't be afraid to take shots.
So I'm willing to go... And I think he sits already at their number 2, if I'm being honest. So I think there's already great value this deep into the draft. So who else do we have that
I think we
like?
need to take a flyer on a running back now.
Okay, so anybody else, deep list, that you like that potentially has a big upside?
As we're speaking at the moment,
Darren McFadden
There's
because
a
of
bit
what?
of a cloud hanging
Yeah.
over Zeke Elliott. We don't know. I mean, obviously that could change. I don't know if you're watching
Well-
this in July when we filmed it. Then you know there's a cloud, but
Then
later on it could look madness.
let's cover the cloud. Let's do exactly what you're doing. Let's take Darren McFadden just because, as crazy as it sounds, it's the last pick. He'll be the first man benched. If Zeke's back, we're not even going to bother with him.
Well, if there's a problem with Zeke for
He
injury,
starts. Yeah.
if there's a problem with it because of this thing that's hanging over his head, the NFL are looking at it. We don't know what's going to happen.
Then maybe this guy gets. Maybe Zeke gets a suspension.
McFadden got 1,000 yards behind that Dallas Cowboys owner.
I think even you might get 500.
Well, I don't know if I could run 500 yards, to be honest.
Let's do it. Let's cover the cloud. Let's do that. Let's put the man in. I think that's really clever. And I don't think they'll like it as a team.
There's a big upside.
Well, they did. 86 out of
not
100. That's
too
pretty good without taking a kicker or a defence. That is a good team.
Okay, so let's just briefly go through it.
Can I be honest? I'll just say this off the bat. That's the best receiving core I've ever drafted in any 12-man team so far this year. By a mile.
On paper.
On paper. But it is my favourite.
All you can do is on paper.
All you can do is on paper.
Mike Evans, Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins.
That whets the appetite. And
Martavis Bryant.
I mean, if one of them is not right, if Hopkins isn't right and you've got Martavis Bryant, who is, I mean, that three alone that you've got is a dream.
We love
combination.
Terrell Williams that late. We love and Zay Jones is a late round.
It's a
flyer.
clever flyer for not having a kick or a defence.
Like we say, the running backs aren't the focal point you think, but Gillespie could really return some good numbers. We're picking him nearly every mock draft.
There's been some interesting strategies employed in this because we've ended up with two quarterbacks, which we don't always advocate. But as you said rightly, we had Drew Brees on a Week 5 bye, and we happened to already have one stack, and it's just happened to give us an extra opportunity for a stack. So even when Brees is out, we can still play a stack. It kind of looks exciting. If we get things right, you could see some big numbers from this team.
Yeah, Paul Perkins could be Melvin
Could be a
Gordon last year.
plodder. Could be a plodder, but that's okay in a team like this. That's fine.
Yeah, you get you 6 to 8 points. That's all you need for he's probably the last player that you're going to put in your team.
Yeah.
If you think about it, you've got to have one of them beast wide receivers in your flex.
Hey, maybe one of those guys underneath the Kareem Hunts break through really quickly.
Well, Matt
much quicker
Forte's
than you
going to
think.
play straight away. So
Yeah.
if something happens to one of
I
them,
feel confident I could start two, and who knows, maybe within a few weeks of the season starting, I've got someone sitting on my bench. I'm not going to let go. I keep saying I'm not letting those guys go.
if Gillespie failed, Burkhead's got a good chance. We've got
One of
Kareem
them's
Hunt.
coming through.
We've got Kareem Hunt and Pirine to
Yeah.
come through. If
Comfortable.
anything happens to Zeke, you could have an RB1 in Darren McFadden
We haven't lost anything
because
by
that O
taking-
line is so good.
It's a very, very good team. I'm liking that team a lot.
Okay, well, let us know what you think. Thanks for watching if you're still with us.
Usual story. We need your likes. We need you to subscribe. We love your comments, as Al says. We'll take any comments on board. And also, as well, if you've had a draft and you want to share that information with us and want us to evaluate that, we will go through your team and tell you what we think.
If you've got any questions, give us a shout. Thanks very much for watching.
That was the best team.